There are always toys being banned from schools because they are unsafe or are distractions. But on today's list, we will talk about toys that became so popular, they became trends and were seen all over the place, and they eventually got banned from schools. If you happen to enjoy this video, please like and subscribe and turn on those notifications. And please comment down below if you have ever had one of these toys taken away from you. The Tamagotchi was invented in 1996 in Japan. The point was to take care of an egg until it hatched, and then you had to take care of that digital pet that hatched. You would feed it, play with it, and clean up after it. It became so popular in the 90s and early 2000s that they had to be banned because they were distracting the kids in class. The teachers would get so frustrated at having to see the kids' heads looking down at their lap all day long. They had to be taken away.
That make me fish sticks?
Oh, are you hungry?
Oh, no. By all means, feed it. Play till your heart's content.
Look, Goldie. I took good care of her, and she changed again.
Change? How about changing some water here?
The Sky Dancers toys was launched in 1994 and were very popular that year. The toy consisted of a doll which would be launched up in the air by pulling a string, and it would fly due to the spinning and the wings that extended outward. The toys were banned from schools because the flight of the toy was not controlled, and they would fly everywhere and anywhere. They would hit other students in the face and cause some minor injuries. And of course, there were some kids that would launch them at each other like weapons. At least that's what I did with all my friends.
Fly for me, just for me, Sky Dancers dance for me.
The Clackers were a popular toy in the 60s and 70s and were briefly popular again in the early 90s. This toy is just two plastic balls attached together with a string, and the point was to hit the balls together. Not that much fun. They were banned in schools due to the plastic balls sometimes shattering when they hit each other, causing plastic to fly everywhere and hitting kids standing nearby. They should have also been banned since they were only fun for about an hour. Originally invented in 1999, these are shoes that have a wheel in the heel of the shoe, allowing the wearer to shift their weight to the back of their foot and being able to roll down the street. They were banned from schools because they were known to cause injuries to the kids when they would fall down without protective equipment. But they would also harm other kids when they would use them in hallways and would be going too fast, causing them to crash into other kids. This toy was launched in 2009 and was advertised as a stress-relieving toy. They are basically neodymium magnet spheres. You would purchase a cube containing various balls and you could then make different shapes or designs. These toys were eventually banned from schools and later banned from all store shelves after they were swallowed by kids and would pinch the guts of the kids, causing major internal damage. They would also cause injury when the balls would crash into each other and would break on impact and would sometimes crush the kids' fingers. Kids can be real dumb sometimes. Slap bracelets were invented in the 1980s and became popular that same decade. And they do become popular every so often. They are basically a piece of flexible stainless steel that retracts into a circle. Basically the same material as a measuring tape. This is then wrapped with some type of fabric, silicone, or plastic cover. The ones that got banned were the ones covered in fabric because the fabric would wear out and the steel would be exposed, causing cuts and scratches on people's arms, especially when you did it to your friends without their knowledge, since they would pull back, causing a slicing action.
Now we can get totally turned up. Slap me. Now slap me. Slap, slap.
Slap me! Slap me!
Yo-yos have been used since the early 500 BC, and they have become popular various times throughout history, but they were banned in schools in the 1990s. They got banned in a lot of schools because kids would try to do some amazing tricks and they would lose control and would accidentally hit other kids, which could also happen if the string snaps. Then you also have those crazy kids who would just start swinging the yo-yos around their heads like some type of lasso and eventually end up hitting other students. Marbles were originally invented in the 1800s in Germany and have become very popular around the world. The popular way kids played in schools was that kids would put their marbles on the ground and draw a circle around the marbles. Then the kids would take turns knocking them out of the circle. Whoever knocked them out would get to keep the marbles. Marbles were banned in schools for two reasons. One, because they are a choking hazard, and two, and most important, is because they were being used to basically gamble. Since kids would put their best marbles up for grabs, and other than gambling not being a good idea to teach kids, the losers would also get mad when they lost their best marbles and fights would break out. The game of Pogs was originally invented in Hawaii in the 1930s. The original Pogs toys were actually milk caps that kids started to play with until companies took note in the 1990s and started making Pogs with different cartoons, drawings, and designs. The main rule of the game requires at least two people to put your Pogs in the middle in a stack, and then they take turns throwing other Pogs in order to get them to flip the stack of Pogs. They did create slammers later that were made of steel or plastic and were much heavier than the Pogs.
Fine. Observe.
Da 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 da.
The game was banned because kids would gamble their best Pogs, just like the marbles, and they would get into fights after losing their best Pogs. Sometimes they would gamble their slammers also, causing even bigger problems. Although fidget spinners were invented in the 1990s, they did not get very popular until early in 2017. They are advertised as a stress-relieving toy and have been claimed to help people who have trouble focusing and find themselves fidgeting, such as people who have ADHD, autism, or anxiety. I think they can't serve a purpose since most of the people affected by these disorders would be fidgeting with something else like pens, erasers, or any other type of school supply. Schools started banning them, claiming that they were distracting students, and some others claimed that they made too much noise. Those are the cheap kind, bitches. Some of these toys were downright dangerous, but for the most part they are fun and provided a distraction from the boring schoolwork. They could at least allow them during recess or lunch and not outright ban them. Thanks for watching this video. See you next time.